히트 시즌2.
Welcome back, everybody, to the SSL here live at the Maxon Arena. Of course, I am Valdez, with me is Wolf. We got done with one series, a pretty quick one, a relatively quick one. Stats taking out Bomber 2-1.
Yeah, it was definitely a weird series. I don't expect the rest of the group to look like that. Definitely some weirdness going on for Stats. I feel like what we saw from Bomber was pretty textbook. I mean, he showed his skill, I'd say, relative to Stats. Stats made some control mistakes in game 2 and in game number 1. Definitely some he misjudged the situation.
Nerves or was he rusty? I don't know. He must have been playing all today, so I don't see how he could have been. Maybe just his first game in the booth always can be a little bit shaky. We've seen that from other players as well as they really shape up towards the end of the group. But we are going to jump into Deer versus GuMiho now, which should be a very close matchup here.
Now, I want to point out that if you look at this, Deer is the only champion in this group of a Star League. He won Season 3. He also won Season 3 of WCS, which was basically kind of like a cross-final, but it was a little bit different than that. Different system we had back in 2013 WCS, but he is a Star League winner, okay? He was the one-hit wonder, people like to call him for that. So he won that GSL, but he's the only person in this group of 4 players who was able to do that. And he is the only champion, and he has the mindset of a champion. His opponent here, GuMiho, has come close a few times, but let's take a look at his results. Round of 8, Code S. Round of 4, Ting Open. Home Story Cup round of 4, and second place in DreamHack Tours in 2015. Not the best results, but really, he almost made the round of 4 in that GSL. In the round of 8, he was really close.
Yeah.
And he definitely is looking in his best form of his career right now, I would say.
They also have new uniforms, by the way. MVP is wearing that today. Looks very summery, almost like like an Under Armour kind of shirt, breathable shirt, that kind of thing. Really good for when you're playing sports. Right, Wolf?
That's right. E-sports.
Yes.
It's hot outside, all right? What are you going to do?
Yeah, very, very humid as well nowadays. Will help with the humidity. But, regardless of who's won a championship or whatnot, GuMiho, we actually predicted, is either 60-40, 70-30 to win this one in our minds.
Yeah.
And that really has a lot to do with his current form. Whereas Deer, he's been a little bit inconsistent from time to time. GuMiho is really on the up and up. We are going to jump into Dust Towers right now for game number 1. Here we are on Dust Towers once again for another PVT. Down in the bottom left in the red from Samsung Galaxy Con, it is Deer.
And his opponent to the top right, the Gumi God, GuMiho. I've been calling him Gumi God recently because he is on a roll in Pro League. No one can stop him.
If he doesn't have the upwards red arrow by now, we're going to have a talk with production because he needs that upper red arrow or something better, some kind of gold upward arrow.
Yeah, if they have an upward arrow for him, I'm going to have a talk with them because they need a flaming upward arrow.
Yeah.
The upward arrow needs to look like a atomic bomb mushroom cloud going up.
Yeah.
Because he is going on a tear right now. In both individual leagues, looking incredibly strong, killing it in Pro League, miles and above everyone on his team right now. In fact, he's really just on another level.
Yeah.
And I really feel like he needs to be respected for that. The fans are giving him love. The Korean community as well is behind him. Some of his old fans are coming back. But I got to say, this guy, do not underestimate him, especially not in this matchup. He is really one of the players who invented and popularized the Cyclone pushes on 2-player maps. then, once he was winning every game with that, he's like, nah, I don't really want to do this anymore. I'm doing other stuff. I'm doing other forms of pressure. Very versatile player in this matchup right now. And Bomber specifically said he was scared of him in TVT. And, I mean, if Bomber's saying that and he's wrecking in TVP, this is another reason why he just very well might get out of the group in first place. Absolutely possible. Yeah,
I think there's a pretty good chance of that. And I mean, this guy, there's a reason that his icon is the monitor falling over, right? The booth fell on him. For you guys who do not know about this, go out on YouTube. It's out there. The booth actually fell out on him, on his head, during a live game versus Zest on, what was that map with the gold base? Habitation Station. Yeah. And then he won it. Then he wrecked Zest. It's almost like he got really angry and he just like, he was going crazy with the drops, the multitasking. And that's really what he is known for in general in PV, or rather in TVP. You know, you were talking about that new style he was bringing in with the Cyclone, but now that it kind of fell out of fashion, he's like, I'll just go back to what works for me, you know? Yeah. And if I was Deer, I would be shaking in my boots, man. I would be scared to go into that booth against this player.
He's going to take a fast third base. He's starting to feel familiar. And use the Oracle for pressure. Very similar build to what Stats did. But it seems like Stats had the inside info that he was going to be up against a very passive fast third CC from Bomber. Talking about his build on New Gettysburg specifically. But in this case, Deer is just going to send out a normal Oracle timing with that third base, not pressuring with the Adepts. But GuMiho is going for an aggressive drop. And he doesn't have detection yet. So this is kind of scary.
Yeah, look at this, too. Coming into the back door, there is absolutely nothing. Oh, there is a Widowmine. Okay. I was like, well, this is going to be kind of hard to hold off if you have absolutely zero defense.
If he dies to Widowmine, I will be eternally disappointed. But he's not. He's actually controlling this person.
You can never forgive Deer for that one time he died to the Widowmine.
Oh, man, this control is so good.
Yeah, it was
I can't
really
even
fantastic.
stress, if you don't play StarCraft, I can't even stress how difficult that is to actually do, to actually pull off. But this is the problem moment, though. He doesn't have much of a defense because he went for that greedy third base and a Twilight Council. That Mothership Core barely survives, and GuMiho not controlling this this group of Marines could have definitely gotten a lot more value.
Could have killed the Mothership Core had he just stutter step microed there, and he could have gotten a bunch more of the probes too. But he was looking elsewhere, perhaps trying to deal with that Oracle or load up something else. There's an SCV in this drop. Okay.
Yeah, he might actually put it in the second medevac, and SCVs can actually repair from within the medevac. You can drop it out, repair the medevac, put it back in, fly it around, and keep that medevac alive. But it may have also been a mistake. I'm not really sure. But it definitely could give more longevity to this, especially because now there's a Liberator coming across. This drop is spotted. Looks like he did put the SCV out, so it was actually a mistake. And it's a triple Widowmine drop.
Ooh, loses that Widowmine, or rather the Oracle. And at the same time, he's pushing by ground. There is a Cyclone on the way as well.
And the reason why this didn't happen to Stats, well, there's two reasons. Hold that thought. This Liberator comes over here and is going to do even more probe damage. The Mothership Core is nowhere even close nearby. Deer is going to take so much damage from that. He
needs the Mothership Core in the main, you know, because he needs to overcharge over there. There was no pylon at the natural.
He's going to lose that Mothership Core. Now he's going to lose these Adepts. And he's going to lose even more. This one Adept isn't even paying attention.
Just chilling over there. Finally, this Liberator is going to go down. Can't stress how long it takes for one.
He's just individually microing Marines here now, and he's going to kill more probes. And in fact, he might even kill his Phoenix now. The Adepts come down. Hey, he's going to have to just drop these out and try to target something.
Yeah, well,
that's all he can get.
He's going to go down now. He did the best he could. Certainly a lot of damage for the units that he was using, but at the same time, his third base definitely a lot later than Deer's. And as you were saying before, you really do need to get a lot of damage done with your drops on this map as Terran in order to get a decent lead and go from there.
The follow-up push is non-existent because he doesn't have any units. We just traded them all, and I don't think, even though the Liberator was in position to do massive, massive damage, the probe pull for Deer was pretty decent. It was a little bit slow, but he has no stim. Obviously, +1/1 on the way. He's going to be out faster than Deer's. But the rush distance on this map, the lack of an army, is all the issues that GuMiho is going to face. Also, the lack of multiple medevacs here. He actually isn't producing them right now. which means when the Colossi come out, because that Bay is finished here, he's not going to have Vikings to deal with them either for quite some time. He's now starting the medevac production a little bit quicker here after I said that, but this is going to be an issue. It's going to be a tech problem that he's going to have to deal with. So glad to see Colossi back in the meta. I know they've been here for a while now, but for a while they were gone, and I never said it.
You missed them?
I did.
Birdos' heart was beating for them. Well, they're back. And GuMiho is going to have to identify that that is the tech choice here. Otherwise, it might be a bit hard and needs some Vikings to come out. Nice little Adept drop coming in here. Only a Cyclone for defense. Not going to be enough.
Yeah, the bunker in position at the front, but not anywhere near what needed to be for the Adept defense. The Cyclone prioritized the Warp Prism, because there was nothing else outside. That wasn't enough. The turret will need to be recompleted. Finally, we see hefty, big drops coming out here. Look at the army supply. I always want to point this out in this matchup. If the Terran has more army supply, it means he needs to be using it out aggressively on the map. That's something that Bomber did not do. It allowed Stats to take a 4th base. Didn't drop, didn't split his army up and attack as much as he could have. GuMiho is doing this, and he's doing it very aggressively with a triple drop here. The problem is that there's units in position to defend, but if he waits, if he finds an opportunity where the Protoss army's out of position, this could do a lot of damage. And he's even going into double Starport Vikings like this is 2013.
The second he scans it, he starts +1 to air and double Starport Viking, just as you're saying. He is taking this very, very seriously, extremely seriously. And we've seen some Terrans, they're like not used to the fact that Colossi are back, and they're like, oh, you know, I can just use my 1 Starport. No. It's just like the past, you know, you need to get a lot of Vikings out to deal with the high number of Colossi, just like any time in StarCraft 2.
Wow, that shade goes off. Adept might find some value. Oh, he's trying to get into the gas. I'm like, that's not where you want to be. You're not an SCV. Marauder pops out of the barracks and kills him. Too bad. He's consistently scanning here, trying to find an opportunity with those 3 drops, and perhaps I even gave him too much credit for the idea because Deer isn't moving out, so he isn't finding any opportunities here. His Warp Prism will finally be scraped off the map here by these Vikings. Down it goes. I wonder where this game will take us now, because I think that if we continue on this current path with double Starport, Deer will have to stop producing Colossi and make High Templar. As I say that, he sees that there's this many Vikings. He starts a Templar Archive because otherwise, if he just keeps making Colossi, then his AoE damage is already countered. And in this moment, before he's fully transitioned, GuMiho has an opportunity to take some head-on engages because he does have this large Viking count because he committed so early to that 2nd Starport. And he's going to have +1 very shortly for that as well. So this is a good opportunity for him, especially if he gets a good angle like this one. Although the Vikings are out of position, he has an arc, and he has so much army.
The force field on the left side are not enough, and everything is coming in a massive concave now. Big warp and a Zealous, but is it going to be enough? One of those Colossi already getting very, very low here.
GuMiho not committing there, not going to take that fight. He's going to heal up a little bit here, wait for a few more Vikings. If he just sits here, though, Deer's getting closer and closer to the Storm, and not only that, charge as well. I feel like that was an opportunity that he could have committed to a little bit harder.
Suppose he wanted to wait for more Vikings or just reinforcements.
Or 2-2, which is just now finished. SCV's coming
SCVs.
out. Long time no see. This timing will work out really well for him. 3 more Vikings going to come across the map as well. Storm is still nowhere close to being done. Not
Deer
even
needs
halfway.
to pull. He needed those cannons a minute ago. He needs all of his probes here to deal with this too. Here we go. Another huge concave.
And this is going to be it. Here come the Vikings targeting down these Colossi now. Adept in the front. Widowmine's burrowing in the middle of this army. Good micro here from GuMiho. He's pulled apart halfway though. The Vikings finally going to take out that Colossus, but there's a lot of Protoss here. He'll have to land his Vikings if he wants to take this fight. He needs more reinforcements. Good kiting here, taking out an Archon.
There we go. I mean, 20 SCVs go down in the attack, and generally, when you see just a straight-up fight like that, at least in Heart of the Swarm, the Terran would usually take it if there were not cannons, if there were not good force fields, if there wasn't Storm or a big probe pull. And Deer had none of those, but he still had a fantastic hold. He's still very alive in this game.
Oh, absolutely. He had 2-2 the entire time as well, so they were on even upgrades. It's not like GuMiho had this timing where he was off a set of upgrades as well with this kind of crazy push. And Deer had enough money to get that crazy warper from the left side as well. So when you see that come in, GuMiho's army kind of gets pulled in 2 directions. Can't commit or force onto the Nexus because there's cannons here. He's finding some probe damage, but this is not enough. And look, these Adepts are going to trash this Mineral Light. He's going to kill even more. 4 Liberators about to pop out, but I just don't think GuMiho can recover if things continue this way.
Yeah, it doesn't seem that way. He's still on 3 bases. That was the attack that needed to do the damage, and it just did not. I mean, now a War Prism gets into the main. He's going to be forced to pull back here. He loses a ton of momentum, as well as 20 more SCVs.
Okay, Storms are out, and they've been out for a while now. We said the first of which hit onto those landed Vikings. This army is crippled, and I think his only real chance in this game now is to bring his army back together with the Liberators and hope that if he splits them correctly and is able to minimize storm damage, he can take a fight with Liberators. There's a decent amount of Stalkers here, but not a massive amount. I think Liberators have to be the way he wins this game, and he has to do it like right now. Every second that passes, Deer gets further ahead. They're dead even in army supply and dead even in upgrades. This is the worst place to fight though. What are you doing? Oh no, into the choke point. Literally the worst place in our map pool where he could have chosen to fight. I can't even, I mean.
And, you know, for some reason we see Terrence walk into that choke over and over. GG, Deer gonna take the first game on Dusk Towers.
Literally the worst, the only absolutely and positively 150% wrong place to fight was there. And I don't want anyone tweeting out and say, well, Charge Zealots can't get us around. He had very few Charge Zealots.
No, he
had
trying to snipe the high temp guard. No, he could have done that on the other side.
That was just a wrong move. I think he panicked. I don't know. That was pretty dirty.
It was kind of an attack that reeked of desperation. It was like, I'm kind of screwed. You know, what am I going to do? It's kind of hard to make great decisions in that spot. You could have argued, like, well, if he fought on the other side, he would have had maybe like a 4% better chance to win that fight, but he was already at like a 5% chance to win it at all. So
yeah, I mean,
it was, you know, just kind of, he had already lost the game after the SCV pull did not work.
I feel like if Deer made a huge mistake, which is almost even worse.
Fought into like 6 Liberators
exactly,
or something.
In the choke point where he couldn't really go through and jump on them, and he had a concave on the other side. If he baited that somehow, which Deer would never make that mistake, maybe you could argue the point. I think it was just, I mean, I think GuMiho would probably say, he'd probably put his hands up and say, okay, oops. Like, I don't think anyone's going to make an argument for that being a good engage. He didn't have all of his Liberators with him either. He had 2 more back at home, or at least they were rallied, and he fought without them. Not that it mattered once the storms went down, but if he had an arc, if he had good Liberation Zone spread, there were enough Stalkers to take one out and blink forward, but not enough to kill all of them. It might have been a trade where he could maybe try to claw back into the game if he killed that 4th base, but fighting there, no, it's not going to happen.
Not really going to work. And we are going to move on to Frost for game number 2, so it should be a much better map for GuMiho to either, you know, have a much better chance of dropping or attacking, but also if they have some space, they can play that long macro game, which GuMiho, you know, should be okay with. He won't have to go for any kind of 3-base all-in where he's like, I'm not comfortable going up to 4 bases on Dusk Towers, but I am on Frost. So this is still a very close series. We did predict that GuMiho was going to take this one, but Deer coming out very strong today. It's obvious that he practiced that map very well. He had a very strong build on that one.
His response to the multi-pronged harass, I think, was really what won him that game.